The emergency call. Commander Jun Martinez sat in his office aboard Earth Station Alpha, steam rising from his morning coffee as he scrolled through routine reports. The quiet hum of the station's life support systems provided a peaceful backdrop to what should have been another ordinary day. Then the emergency beacon flashed crimson across his console. His coffee mug hit the desk with a sharp clink. Emergency signals from the Galactic Council meant one thing: something had gone catastrophically wrong, and they needed human intervention. Jun pressed the communication key, and 3 familiar alien faces materialized on his holographic display. The Council's triumvirate looked haggard, their usual composed demeanor replaced by barely concealed panic. "Commander Jun," spoke Velter, his blue-tinged skin pale and his 4 eyes darting nervously. "We require immediate human assistance." Jun set down his coffee entirely. When the Council, with all their advanced technology and vast fleets, asked humans for help, it meant their situation had moved beyond desperate into impossible territory. "What's the nature of the crisis?" Jun asked, already reaching for his jacket. Limra, the scaled diplomat, leaned forward. Her usually melodic voice carried an edge of fear. "An ancient entity has awakened on Kepler 442b. Our databases classify it as a void render." Jun's blood chilled. Void renders existed in the realm of galactic legend, cosmic horrors from the universe's violent youth. Most xenobiologists dismissed them as evolutionary myths, cautionary tales told by elder species. "Confirmed sighting?" he asked. 3 mining platforms, Cordell, the gray-skinned military advisor, spoke grimly. Each housed 5,000 workers. The entity consumed them entirely within hours. "Casualties?" "The platforms were evacuated in time, but Commander." Limra's voice cracked. "It's heading directly toward New Sol Colony. 20,000 human civilians. Our projections show impact in 72 hours. Jun stood, his mind already racing through possibilities. "What have you attempted?" Velter's shoulders sagged. "The Zephyrian Armada deployed 50 dreadnoughts. Complete destruction. The Crystalline Union's energy weapons only seemed to feed it power. Even the Hive Collective's warriors were absorbed. We've exhausted every conventional solution," Cordell added. "Humanity represents our final option." Jun understood the unspoken truth. Other species had superior firepower, advanced AI, and technologies that seemed like magic to human eyes. But when logic and force failed, when the impossible needed solving, they called humans. Humanity's gift wasn't superior technology, it was seeing solutions where others saw only problems. "I'll need complete data access," Jun said. "Every scan, every tactical report, every piece of historical information you have." "Granted immediately," Velter replied. "Who will you send?" "Your most experienced combat team. Your xenobiology specialists." Jun studied the creature's profile as data streamed to his console. The void render appeared as a living mountain, its dark surface seeming to absorb light itself. Yet something in the movement patterns caught his attention, a strange deliberation that didn't match the reports of mindless destruction. "I'm sending my son," he said quietly. The 3 aliens exchanged glances of pure bewilderment. "Commander," Limra said carefully, with respect, "Tay completed his academy training only last month. He's never seen actual combat. This creature has killed seasoned warriors by the thousands," Cordell protested. "Are you certain?" Jun smiled, remembering his son's unique perspective during their conversations about xenobiology. While others saw alien species as puzzles to solve or threats to neutralize, Tay saw them as individuals with their own motivations and fears. "Tay specializes in alien behavioral patterns," Jun explained. "He doesn't assume hostility where he might find communication. Sometimes the smallest key opens the largest door." The council members looked skeptical but desperate. They had no alternatives left. "If you're certain," Velter said slowly, "we'll provide him with our most advanced research vessel and complete data access. No weapons, Jun said firmly. Just observation equipment and a small support crew. After the transmission ended, Jun sat back in his chair, watching the Void Render's image cycle through his display. His decision seemed insane even to him, sending his inexperienced son to face a cosmic horror that had defeated the galaxy's greatest military forces. But Jun knew something the Council didn't understand yet. The creature's path wasn't random destruction. It was going somewhere specific, with purpose. And if anyone could figure out what that purpose was, it would be Tay. He reached for his personal communicator. Time to give his son the mission that would either save thousands of lives or cost him his own. An impossible choice. 24 hours later, Lieutenant Tay Martinez stood on the bridge of the research vessel Harmony, watching Kepler 442b grow larger through the viewport. The planet looked deceptively peaceful, swirling blue oceans and green continents wrapped in pristine white clouds. Nothing in its serene appearance suggested it harbored something that had terrified the entire galaxy. Approaching optimal observation distance, sir, announced pilot specialist Hira Chen from her station. At 25, she was already considered one of the fleet's most talented engineers, her family having served alongside Jun Martinez for decades. Tay still felt uncomfortable with the formal address. Last month he'd been cramming for xenobiology finals, now he commanded a mission that could determine the fate of 20,000 colonists. The weight of it settled on his shoulders like gravity from a heavy world. Thank you, Hira. Take us to the moon's far side, I want us hidden while we set up. The third member of their team, tactical specialist Marcus Wu, looked up from his console. The moon's crater formations will provide excellent concealment, he said. We can establish a monitoring station with full planetary observation capabilities while remaining undetected. Tay nodded. Wu's 30 years of experience had made him initially skeptical of serving under such a young commander, but orders were orders. Still, Tay could sense the man's professional concern about their mission parameters. They spent the next 2 days establishing their observation post inside a crater that had seen no sunlight for millennia. Hira's technical expertise transformed their equipment into a sophisticated monitoring array capable of tracking energy signatures across the entire planet. Wu fortified their position and planned 3 different evacuation routes, his tactical mind never fully at ease. Meanwhile, Tay immersed himself in the fragmentary historical records about void renders. Most sources dismissed them as mythological, cosmic bogeymen used by ancient civilizations to explain natural disasters. The few credible accounts described creatures of immense size and power, capable of consuming entire worlds. But the descriptions felt incomplete, as if the witnesses had missed something crucial. On their 3rd day, the sensors detected it. Contact, Hira announced, her voice tight with awe. Bearing 27 Mark IV. Distance, 43,000 meters. The main display lit up with the Void Render's image, and Tay felt his breath catch. No amount of preparation could have readied him for the reality. The creature moved like a living mountain, 40 kilometers of dark mass that seemed to bend light around itself. Where it passed, it left trenches deep enough to swallow cities. Energy output is incredible, Wu reported, his tactical training warring with disbelief. It's generating more power than our fusion reactors. How is something biological capable of this? Tay studied the creature's movement pattern, comparing it to the data from previous encounters. According to all reports, this was a mindless destroyer, driven by nothing but hunger and rage. Yet something about its behavior troubled him. Show me its previous path, he requested. Hira brought up a tactical overlay showing the creature's route over the past month. Red markers indicated the destroyed mining platforms, while a blue line traced its steady progression toward the southern continent. It's not random, Tay murmured, leaning closer to the display. Look at the trajectory. It's heading somewhere specific. Wu frowned. Monsters don't have destinations, Lieutenant. They follow instinct, food, territory, reproduction. Maybe, Tay replied, but his instincts disagreed. But look at the timing of the attacks. Each mining platform was evacuated before the creature arrived. Either it has perfect timing, or what? Hira asked. Or it waited for them to leave. The suggestion hung in the air like a challenge to everything they thought they knew. Wu shook his head. You're anthropomorphizing it. Creatures this size don't have the cognitive capacity for moral consideration. For the next week, they maintained constant observation. Tay documented every detail of the Void Render's behavior, when it paused, how it moved, which direction it faced during rest periods. Slowly, a pattern emerged that defied conventional understanding. The creature never deviated from its chosen path, even when easier routes existed. It moved with deliberate purpose, not the random destruction expected from a mindless beast. Most telling of all, it had somehow avoided causing a single civilian casualty despite its devastating power. I need geological surveys of this planet, Tay announced suddenly. Especially anything unusual, ancient structures, mineral deposits, anything that might serve as a landmark. Hira worked through the night, cross-referencing planetary surveys with archaeological databases. When she found it, her excitement was palpable. There, she said, highlighting a location on the southern continent. Deep core scans detected metallic structures buried 3 kilometers underground. The composition doesn't match any known natural formations. Tay plotted the coordinates against the Void Render's trajectory. The match was perfect. It's not destroying randomly, he realized aloud. It's going home. The research mission. You want to do what? Wu's voice cracked with disbelief as he stared at Tay across their cramped command center. I want to get closer, Tay repeated calmly, though his heart hammered against his ribs. Close enough to establish proper communication protocols. Hira looked up from her console, her face pale. Sir, with respect, that thing is the size of a city. Getting close enough for detailed scans means entering its potential kill zone. Tay pulled up the holographic display showing the buried structures. Look at this data. Those formations aren't random, they're architectural. Someone built something down there, something the Void Render is trying to reach. So what if they did? Wu challenged. That doesn't make it less dangerous. The creature has already demonstrated its capacity for destruction. Has it though? Tay asked, manipulating the display to show the destruction timeline. Every single mining platform was evacuated before impact. The shipping lanes it crossed were mysteriously empty of traffic. Either this creature has impossible luck, or it's actively avoiding casualties. Wu studied the data reluctantly. You're suggesting it's intelligent? I'm suggesting we don't know what it is. And 20,000 colonists are going to die because we're too afraid to find out. The debate continued for hours, but Tay's determination proved unwavering. Against his better judgment, Wu agreed to modify their approach. If they were going to attempt contact, they needed to understand what they were dealing with. Hira spent the next day reconfiguring their equipment for close-range analysis. I've enhanced our communication array, she reported. We can transmit on multiple frequencies simultaneously, electromagnetic, quantum, even gravitational wave patterns. Defensive systems? Wu asked. None, Tay said firmly. If we approach armed, we confirm its expectations of hostility. This has to be a peaceful contact. Wu's expression suggested he thought Tay had lost his mind, but he prepared their escape protocols anyway. They descended through Kepler 442b's atmosphere in a modified shuttle, its sensors reconfigured for scientific observation rather than tactical analysis. The Void Render was 40 kilometers away when they broke through the cloud layer, its massive form visible even at that distance. Energy signatures are off the charts, Hira reported, her voice tight with concentration. But there's something else, structured patterns in the energy emissions. It's not random discharge. Tay felt his pulse quicken. Can you decode it? Working on it, there. It's definitely communication, but the complexity is beyond our translation matrices. We'd need weeks to develop proper linguistic algorithms. The shuttle swept closer, and the Void Render's true scale became apparent. It wasn't just large, it was a living ecosystem, its dark surface revealing intricate patterns that resembled circuit boards or neural networks. Strange lights pulsed beneath its skin in rhythmic waves. 10 kilometers and closing, Wu announced, his hands hovering over the emergency systems. Still no hostile response. Wait, Hira said suddenly. The energy patterns are changing. It's responding to our presence. On the display, the chaotic energy readings organized themselves into distinct sequences, patterns that repeated with mathematical precision. It's trying to talk to us, Tay breathed. The realization hit them all simultaneously. This wasn't a mindless monster, it was a conscious being attempting communication with beings so small they barely registered as life forms. Can we respond? Tay asked. Hira's fingers flew over her console. I'm modulating our communications array to match its frequency patterns. It's primitive, but it might work. She transmitted a simple mathematical sequence, prime numbers followed by the Fibonacci series. The response was immediate. The Void Render's energy output shifted, repeating their sequence before adding its own mathematical progression. First contact, Wu murmured, his tactical concerns momentarily forgotten in the face of history being made. But their celebration was short-lived. Long-range sensors detected a massive fleet approaching the system, Galactic Council warships preparing for a final assault. They're not waiting for our report, Tay realized with growing horror. They're going to attack while we're in the communication zone. The implications hit them all at once. If the Council fleet opened fire while they were attempting peaceful contact, the Void Render might interpret it as a betrayal. Any chance of preventing the destruction of New Sol Colony would be lost. How long until they arrive? Tay asked. Wu checked his tactical display. 6 hours. Maybe less if they push their engines. 6 hours to decode the communications of a being older than human civilization. 6 hours to prevent a war that could consume the entire system. Get me a direct line to my father, Tay ordered. And Hira, keep working on those translations. If this being has been trying to communicate, we need to know what it's saying. As the Harmony raced against time, the Void Render continued its steady progression toward the buried structures, its ancient purpose finally within reach after what might have been millennia of waiting. Ancient discoveries. Dad, you have to stop them, Tay's voice crackled through the quantum communicator, urgency stripping away all formal protocol. The Council fleet is making a terrible mistake. Commander Jun's face appeared on the display, his expression grim. Behind him, the bridge of Earth Station Alpha buzzed with activity as tactical coordinators tracked the approaching armada. Son, I'm watching the same sensor data you are. That creature is 18 hours from New Sol Colony. We can't afford to. It's not going to attack the colony. Tay interrupted. Dad, we've established communication. It's trying to reach something buried beneath the surface, something ancient. Jun's expression shifted from parental concern to professional interest. Explain. Hira leaned into the transmission. Commander, the energy patterns are definitely structured communication. Mathematical progressions, geometric sequences, this entity is trying to tell us something. The geological surveys show metallic structures 3 kilometers underground, Tay continued. Dad, what if the Void Render isn't a destroyer? What if it's a guardian trying to return home? On the display, Jun's face reflected the weight of an impossible decision. The Council fleet was already committed to their attack run. Stopping them would require him to countermand direct orders from the Galactic Council, a career-ending move at best. Even if you're right, Jun said slowly, I can't halt a Council operation on speculation. 20,000 lives hang in the balance. Then give me time to prove it, Tay pleaded. Delay them somehow. We're close to a breakthrough. The transmission ended, leaving Tay staring at a blank screen while his father made choices that would determine everyone's fate. Meanwhile, Hera had been working frantically on the translation matrices. "I'm getting fragments," she announced. "Basic concepts: home, return, guardian. But there's something else, something about sleepers." Wu, who had been monitoring the approaching fleet, looked up sharply. "4 hours until weapons range. Whatever we're going to discover, we need to discover it fast." Tay made a decision that surprised them all. "Take us down to the surface. Directly above the buried structures." "That's insane," Wu protested. "If that thing decides we're a threat." "It won't. Don't you see? It's been trying to avoid casualties this entire time. It wants to communicate, not destroy." The shuttle descended through the atmosphere, passing within 2 kilometers of the void render. At close range, the creature's true nature became apparent. Its surface wasn't skin but a complex technological matrix, living metal that pulsed with bioelectric energy. Massive optical sensors tracked their approach, but the creature made no aggressive moves. "It's beautiful," Hera whispered, her fear replaced by wonder. "It's not biological at all, it's a fusion of technology and consciousness." They landed at the coordinates directly above the buried structures. Tay ordered deep core scans, pushing their equipment to maximum range. What they found defied every assumption about Kepler 442b's history. "These structures," Hera reported, her voice filled with awe, "they're not just buildings. They're stasis chambers. Thousands of them, arranged in perfect geometric patterns." The implications hit Tay like a physical blow. "How many?" "Preliminary scans suggest over 1 million individual chambers. All showing minimal energy signatures, consistent with long-term suspended animation." The pieces of the puzzle suddenly assembled themselves in Tay's mind. The void render wasn't a destroyer, it was a shepherd. Somewhere in the distant past, an ancient civilization had placed its people in stasis and assigned this magnificent being to watch over them. But something had gone wrong. The Guardian had been separated from its charges, perhaps by geological upheaval or some cosmic catastrophe. Now, after millennia of searching, it had finally found its way home. The mining operations, Tay realized aloud. They were interfering with the stasis systems. The creature had to stop them to protect the sleepers. Wu monitored the tactical display with growing alarm. 2 hours until the fleet arrives. They're maintaining full battle formation. Tay activated the communicator again. "Hera, can you transmit our findings to the void render? Let it know we understand." She modified their communication array, broadcasting a complex mathematical message that incorporated the coordinates of the stasis chambers and recognition of the creature's guardian role. The response was immediate and overwhelming. The void render's energy output shifted to patterns of such complexity that their computers couldn't process them all. But the emotional content was unmistakable: joy, relief, and something that could only be described as gratitude. "It's thanking us," Hera said, tears streaming down her face. "After all these millennia alone, someone finally understands." But their moment of triumph was interrupted by proximity alarms. The Council fleet had arrived early, weapons systems charging for immediate engagement. "Incoming transmission from the flagship," Wu announced. Admiral Vextar's image appeared on their display, his expression cold and determined. "Human vessel, withdraw immediately. We are commencing final assault." "Admiral, you can't." Tay shouted. "The creature is a guardian protecting hibernating civilians. If you attack, you'll be committing genocide on a scale." "Enough," Vextar interrupted. "Your father has been relieved of command for refusing to cooperate with this operation. We have our orders." The transmission cut off, leaving them staring at a fleet of warships preparing to destroy something beautiful and ancient that had waited eons to come home. The truth revealed. The first salvo from the Council fleet lit up space like artificial stars. Energy beams that could shatter moons struck the void render's massive form, but instead of destruction, something unexpected happened. The creature absorbed every joule of energy, its biomechanical matrix growing brighter and more complex. It's not fighting back, Wu observed with amazement. Even under direct attack, it's maintaining defensive posture only. Tay watched in horror as the fleet prepared for a second assault. It can't defend itself without risking the stasis chambers below. The energy discharge would disrupt the hibernation systems. Which means those million sleeping beings will die, Hera realized. The Void Render's communications became desperate, broadcasting mathematical pleas for understanding. But the fleet interpreted its energy buildup as preparation for counterattack. Admiral Vexstar is ordering maximum bombardment, Wu reported. They're going to destroy it before it can strike back. Tay made a decision that would either save two civilizations or doom them all. Hera, can you patch our communication system directly into the fleet's command frequency? It's possible, but they'll cut us off in seconds. Then we better make those seconds count. As Hera worked frantically to establish the connection, Tay composed the most important message of his career. Not a military report or diplomatic protocol, but a simple human story that transcended species barriers. All ships, this is Lieutenant Tay Martinez aboard the research vessel Harmony, he broadcast as energy weapons charged for another devastating volley. What you're about to destroy isn't a monster, it's apparent. The unexpected statement gave the fleet commanders pause. Tay continued quickly. Imagine your children placed in stasis to survive some cosmic catastrophe. Imagine a guardian left to watch over them, separated by forces beyond its control. Now imagine that guardian spending millennia searching, fighting across the galaxy to find its way home to the children it was sworn to protect. On the main display, the Void Render had positioned itself directly above the buried stasis chambers, using its own massive form as a shield despite the devastating damage it was absorbing. That creature down there has spent 1,000 years trying to come home. Every mining station it destroyed was threatening the life support systems of 1 million sleeping souls. Every battle it fought was to protect beings that can't protect themselves. Hera had managed to transmit their complete findings to the fleet, deep core scans showing the stasis chambers, translation matrices revealing the creature's communications, and energy pattern analysis proving its guardian role. Admiral Vexstar's voice crackled through the communicator. These readings, they're authentic. Completely verified, sir. The creature isn't a Void Render at all, it's a keeper, an artificial intelligence fused with living technology to serve as an eternal guardian. The ancient civilization that built it must have faced some extinction-level event and placed their people in stasis until it was safe to wake them. For long moments, space held its breath. The fleet maintained formation but held fire as commanders processed the implications. If this is true, came another voice, Council Member Limra, then we nearly committed genocide against a species that never posed any threat. The Void Render's communications shifted again, this time broadcasting what could only be described as hope. It had detected the change in the fleet's energy signatures, recognized that the immediate threat was diminishing. It's asking permission to complete its mission, Hera translated, tears streaming down her face. After all this time, it's asking permission to wake its children. What followed was the most extraordinary moment in galactic history. The same fleet that had come to destroy the creature began assisting with its mission. Council ships used their advanced technology to help stabilize the ancient stasis systems while the Keeper, no longer called Void Render, began the delicate process of revival. One by one, the buried chambers came online. Beings of crystalline beauty emerged from their millennial sleep, their faces reflecting wonder at finding their guardian waiting faithfully above. The reunion between the Keeper and its charges resonated across multiple dimensions, a harmony of joy that touched every sentient being in the system. My father, Tay said quietly, watching the incredible scene unfold. Is he reinstated with full honors? Admiral Vexstar announced. Commander Jun Martinez's faith in his son's judgment prevented what would have been the worst atrocity in galactic history. As the ancient civilization began establishing contact with the modern galaxy, their first request surprised everyone. They wanted to meet the young human who had seen past fear to find understanding. They had a word in their language that translated roughly as, bridge builder, one who connects different forms of consciousness. Months later, Tay stood before the Galactic Council, no longer a nervous lieutenant but a recognized expert in interspecies communication. The Keeper had taken up permanent residence in orbit around its people's new homeworld, serving both as protector and as ambassador to the wider galaxy. The lesson here, Tay addressed the assembled delegates, isn't that humans are special. It's that understanding transcends species barriers. Fear makes us see monsters where we might find friends. Commander Jun watched from the gallery, pride evident in his eyes. His son had done more than save lives, he had changed how the galaxy viewed the unknown. The Keeper's final message to humanity was simple but profound: thank you for seeing us as we truly are. And in that moment, Tay understood that his father had been right all along. Sometimes the smallest key really does open the biggest door. The end.